Hey guys, Bella here, and in this video I'm going to be talking about why I wanted to start prepping in 2022 more seriously. Now I will say that I think I've been prepping for a couple years without really realizing it. I noticed that a lot of the things that I do seem to follow in line with like a prepping mindset and just kind of being prepared and being aware and having that like situational awareness and honestly just genuine distrust of the government and society in general to take care of me. So all of those factors combined kind of led me into prepping. I've also had an interest in camping and hiking and overnight trips over the years, so that has also kind of blended in with the prepping lifestyle. But what I want to discuss in this video is like the reasons that I want to do prepping and the reason that I think it's necessary and helpful for me, and why you might also want to become a prepper as well. And I will say that just labeling myself as a prepper is kind of weird because I've always kind of just thought of prepping as sort of an extremist stance, and maybe those people were a little crazy or had some unaddressed mental health issues, and some of them do, they kind of make it like their entire life, and I'm just not trying to deal with that. And prepping has a different definition to different people. Some people just want to prep for things that are realistic, and that's more me. I think most reasonable people are going to be prepping for things like natural disasters or things like losing your job or more realistic things that could possibly happen. Personally, I'm not trying to save up months or years worth of food because I don't want to live in those kind of conditions. But I do want to talk to you about my 10 reasons that I want to start prepping more seriously in 2022. So my number one reason is that I don't like running out of things. I really find it very annoying when I run out of things like toilet paper or dog food or milk, and I always try to stock up to the level that I feel like I'm going to be good for a couple of weeks. It really is annoying to have to run out of something and go to the grocery store the same day to get it. So that's one of the biggest reasons why I like to prep. I like to buy everything in bulk that I can buy in bulk because you usually save money doing so, and you kind of give yourself a little bit of a cushion to make sure that you have enough of what you need. The second reason is that I think I've always come from like frugal people who tried to buy things that were on sale, tried to stock up on things, like if things were, going on sale and they were only going to be for a limited time only, and you have a shelf life of 2 or 3 years, I would always figure that it was better for me to stock up on things that were cheap. So I actually make my living buying things and reselling them. So my whole entire career is based on being able to get things cheaply and sell them to other people. So with that in mind, I've been able to, just get bulk supplies of a lot of things. I think last week I wound up getting like 14 things of Crest toothpaste, and I don't even think I paid like $2. I actually went to like this fill-a-bag sale where you could fill a whole entire bag up, and so that was just something that I had shoved in the bag, but now I have enough toothpaste to last like probably for like 5 years. I don't know what I'm going to do with all of it. I'm probably going to save some of it for me and give some of it away. But that's just an example of, the mindset that I've always had is like stocking up when things are cheap. The third reason is that when I started training with a firearm, I realized a lot of the vulnerabilities that I had, situational awareness things that I wasn't aware of, and just becoming more, in tune with what's going on around me, whether or not I am in a dark parking lot or walking alone, and just kind of being more aware of things in my surroundings. I've had a chance to take some different classes at my local range and some survival classes and self-awareness classes, and I think that it really kind of contributed to the mindset of like always kind of know what's going on. In the past 2 years, I've actually experienced being snowed in and also having tornadoes come to my area. And, those kind of things, along with the last 2 years of living in a pandemic, really show you that, when the power goes out and you're not able to get in your car and drive to the store, you really do have to make do with what you have. And, if you're not able to have some kind of other means of transportation, like if it's not walking distance or riding a bicycle distance, it can really be difficult to get out and about. And that's just for weather. That's not pertaining to, if there were situations that were more dangerous, like society's collapsing and people are looting and violence is in the street. So, you don't want to ever like get into a situation where you don't have enough food in your house to last at least a week or so. Personally, I think that I could pretty well live off of what I have for a little while, but I'm definitely to the point where I think I should prepare a little bit more given the current conditions that we are living in. A couple of the hiking trips that I went on, specifically when I was on the Appalachian Trail made me like more aware of what I could live without. I think that I had this conception that I needed to bring all of this stuff with me, and I had started out with some very heavy gear, and by the time I was on the trail for about a week, I had let go of probably 5 or 6 pounds of weight of stuff that I thought I needed, and I learned to live while just carrying my food on my back, my water filter, and that experience really shaped me to realize that in situations where you think that you can't possibly make it out or you can't go any further, you can push yourself a lot further, and as human beings, we're just capable of so much more than what we realize. And so all of my camping and hiking trips have made me realize that that's basic survival, I guess. It all blends in together, putting up a tent, making camp, setting up a fire, cooking food over it, filtering your water. All of those skills are useful prepping skills. I just didn't realize it when I was doing it, but now looking back on it, I'm like, oh, I was building up all of those skills all along. I am an anxious person, and I also think that prepping kind of contributes to my mental well-being, and it eases my nerves to where I don't have to worry so much. And I think that a lot of people who are preppers are probably anxiety-riddled people. You might have had some kind of food insecurity in your life, or you've been at a time where you've lost your job, or your parents lost your job. That feeling of not having enough definitely stays with us. If you've ever been in a situation where you didn't have enough food, or you didn't know where your next meal was coming from, I think it leaves you with the mindset for the rest of your life that you don't want to be in that position again. It makes you want to set up a safety net to where you don't have to feel like you're ever going to be in a situation like that again, where you don't know where your food is coming from and you can't feed your family. I think a lot of us have definitely seen worse times than what we're currently in, but it can always get worse. And so I think that as far as prepping goes, the whole reason that I think you should start prepping is because it should ease your anxiety. It should make you feel better. If it's starting to make you feel more anxious and make you feel more worried, then I think that you're going about it in the wrong way, because really all it is tools and supplies and information that could potentially help you if things go really poorly. But for the most part, we don't want to ever have to use it or deal with it. We just want to have it in our back pocket. Another reason that I want to do prepping is because I know that the government is not going to be able to take care of me if things go, really far south and we see a societal collapse. If you look at how things like COVID were handled, that was not a good time for our society. It was handled really, really poorly. And, they were giving us tests 2 years after we needed the tests. So, you just see how things are handled and how slowly the government reacts to things. Looking at disasters like Hurricane Katrina, where people were trapped for days before they got any help, it really makes you realize that you're the only person that you can count on in those types of situations. You, your community, your family, your close-knit groups. And so, I have a relative skepticism when it comes to the government and the military that is going to be able to take care of us. Typically when you watch any kind of apocalypse or zombie show, the military and the government get their people out first. They're not worried about little people lower to middle class people like us. They're worried about themselves, and who could blame them when it's life or death with your family. But overall, I just don't trust them to take care of me. The only person that I trust to take care of me is me. My next reason is something that you probably all have seen, and that is the empty shelves at the grocery store. And I can honestly say that I'm 27 years old, and in the past 2 years, this is the first time that I've ever walked into a grocery store and seen the shelves completely empty. And it was kind of a scary feeling just knowing that people were panicking. I know I went to a small grocery store that was right down the road from me. It wasn't like a Walmart or Target or anything. It was a really small mom and pop shop, and just the way that people were behaving, they were filling up carts of water with bottled water, their whole entire buggy full of bottled water and toilet paper, and just seeing people do all of this panic buying, I realized that I don't ever want to put myself in that situation if I can avoid it. I want to be prepared to where when everyone's running to the store and freaking out, I want to be sitting at home with all of my supplies, calm, calculated, not fighting people for those necessities that we could have prepared for, but people just chose not to. The last reason that I want to start prepping is I think it's kind of fun. I think it's a thought exercise. I think that we've all watched apocalypse movies or zombie shows and seen people survive, and we thought, I could do that, or I could do a better job than that. Or sometimes when I'm watching The Walking Dead, I'm like, why are they doing that? That is the dumbest thing they could possibly do. So, we have all these scenarios that go through our head about what we would do in those situations, but honestly, I don't think any of us really know until we're put in that situation, and hopefully that never happens. But for me, prepping is something that is kind of entertaining. It's kind of fun to think about. And if you're someone who likes to plan things out and you're meticulous and you like to learn different things, I think that prepping is a really good hobby because it's definitely going to be useful. I mean, who doesn't need to know how to survive? I mean, if you're ever in a plane crash or, you have some kind of accident, it's definitely something that can come in handy. I will say when I started reading about prepping, I thought that I didn't know anything, but the more that I read, the more that I realize that I've been doing a lot of these fundamental things for years. I just didn't realize it. It's kind of one of those things that I just thought was common sense, but apparently it's not common sense because I guess a lot of people don't know about it. But I think when you grow up, lower to middle class, there are a lot of things that you learn from your parents and definitely from your grandparents that kind of stick with you about how to survive and how to make it when the world is not so easy to live in. I think that one of the most important things to remember about prepping is that it's not something that's going to be able to be accomplished overnight. It's really something that you build. I mean, you wouldn't try to build your entire life overnight. These things just sort of unfold over time and over a period. So that's kind of the mindset that I take when it comes to prepping or really anything else in my life. But overall, I think that this is something that I think I'm going to enjoy, and I think it's going to be entertaining, and maybe it won't last forever, but it's definitely something that I'm going to see myself exploring more as the year goes on. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If any of my reasons for prepping resonated with you, I would love to hear about it in the comment section below. I would also appreciate it if you give the video a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel. I plan on making more videos about prepping in the future. Thanks so much for watching the video, guys. I will catch you in the next one.